Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed at 1,000 subscribers. I'll be posting a special video. The rim hits the counter and chips. I grab her forearm. The glass wobbles, then steadies under my palm. Her breath hammers, mine holds. I guide it down before something worse cracks. I'm Daniel, 36. My voice stays level, hers climbs. Enough for tonight. I slide the bottle away with my knuckles. She watches my hand like it's a trap. Don't parent me, her stare dares me to blink. Then don't test the floor. My fingers loosen, but I don't back up. A muscle jumps in her cheek like a tiny alarm. Her phone buzzes once on the table. She angles toward it. I move first. Screen lights for a second, then goes black. She reaches again. I hold it flat to the wood and wait. Give it, her jaw hardens. After water. I fill a glass, slow on purpose. She glances at the door, tiny twitch, fast calculation. I set the water down between us like a line. She pushes the wine toward the sink with 2 fingers. The bottle tilts, liquid sloshes, decision wobbling with it. I can handle it, prove it. My chest stays still, but my knees feel ready to move. She lifts the water and drinks 3 short gulps. A drop runs down her wrist. She wipes it on her sleeve, sharp, annoyed. Happy, show me tomorrow. The word tomorrow hangs like a dare we both hate. Keys rattle in the bowl by the door. She looks there again. I see it now, the exit plan forming behind her eyes. Fresh air, she says, already stepping. I block the hallway with 1 foot and wait for the shove. It comes hard, shoulder to sternum. I absorb it, then shift aside before pride escalates. Walk with me, she shakes her head once, stubborn and bright. I open the door anyway and hold it like a promise I can't keep. Stairwell air hits cold and thin. She takes the first steps fast. I follow at a measured pace, counting our breaths. 3rd floor, 2nd. She stops on the landing and turns back up, testing my resolve, testing hers. Alarm blares. I roll out and tap her shoulder. Shoes on, she groans and buries her face. I tug the blanket once and wait. Either she stands or we start another fight. She sits up slow, eyes narrow. 5 minutes. I nod and count down in my head. At 0, I hold the laces out like a deal that might collapse. We hit the sidewalk and push hard. My breath sets the cadence. Her stutters, then lands beside mine. At the corner, she tries to ease up. I point ahead and keep going. To the next pole, I tap my wrist where a watch should be. She snorts at the fake coach move. Still, her stride lengthens and the protest fades into effort. Back home, I stack 3 short tasks: shower, protein, calls. We move through them like stations, no ornament, just momentum. I act busy so she copies the rhythm. At noon, I text bullet goals. Clear, measurable, brutal enough to bite. She replies with a single period, acknowledged, not thrilled, message received. Evening brings a curve. She drops a folded paper on the table, a workshop invite, leadership track. I feel my jaw set before my brain weighs it. You should go, I say after a beat. The words taste like a test. It lands on run day. She watches me for permission. I pretend not to hear. We move the run to 5. I write it on the whiteboard with a firm hand. She exhales through her nose and nods once. I know I just crossed a line I plan to redraw later. We clear the cabinet together. No speeches, just caps twisting and liquid draining. She wipes the counter with sharp strokes and tosses the rag like a challenge I can't dodge. Night texts start pinging her screen. Colleagues, schedules, a number I do not recognize. She angles the phone away and keeps typing fast. My stomach tightens and I keep my mouth shut. You hungry? I keep it bland. She nods and checks the time. Small portion. Progress speaks in tiny concessions and I bank each one like currency that might devalue. Next morning I up the stakes. Intervals, short, mean, decisive. She glares, then launches and matches every surge. On the last push, she edges ahead and refuses to look back. I pretend that was my plan. Good, hold that gear. She pulls her hair into a knot and looks amused. I smile like I'm in control, which I am not. After lunch, I print a simple checklist. Meals, hydration, sleep. She tacks it to the corkboard and taps the boxes with a pen. Tick, 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 a clean sound I could get addicted to. At 3, I book her a session with a trainer I trust. She raises an eyebrow and tilts the phone to read the confirmation. 6 a.m., I keep my tone neutral and my eyes steady. Fine, she pockets the phone and heads to the living room. I follow with 2 resistance bands like a peace offering. She takes the green one and starts without waiting. Halfway through, she stops and wipes her forehead. What's the goal today? I hold up 3 fingers, form, consistency, ownership. The 3rd one catches in my throat and we both notice. She nails the last set and drops the band with a thud. No victory dance, just gravity and intent. I clap once and feel oddly sidelined by her new precision. That night she drafts a short email in the kitchen. I pretend to rinse dishes and read from the reflection on the microwave. Clear language, firm tone, no hedging. My chest tightens and I hate that it does. Send it, I keep my back turned. The click lands like a gavel. She exhales and stretches her neck. A quiet triumph fills the room and leaves me unnecessary. Near midnight, a message pops from that unknown contact again. I feel heat rise and step closer. She locks the screen without flinching and places the phone face down. Work thread, she reaches for the water I set out earlier. I nod and stare at the black rectangle. I decide to verify later and dislike the person making that choice. Dawn finds us on the track, new plan, negative splits. She listens hard and starts cautious. Lap 2, she accelerates and I can barely keep pace. My control slips with my breath. Hold it, I gasp and point to the line. She surges through and keeps jogging slow after. I stop and bend at the waist while she circles back calm and steady. You okay? Her palm lands between my shoulders. I straighten and laugh too loudly. Fine, you're stronger today. The words come out proud and a little threatened. She grins and it hits me, a preview not an accident, a shift that will grow if I keep feeding it. I wonder whether I'm building resilience or birthing independence that will outrun me. Back home, I open the laptop and sketch a 3-week block. Hard days, deloads, targets. I leave one column blank and label it her choice. The marker squeaks and my hand hesitates over the space. She walks by and taps that empty column twice. I'll fill it tonight. The certainty in her voice unsettles and excites me. I realize I want both outcomes and that's a problem. Before bed, I open her workshop reminder and check the attendee list. I spot the unknown number in a contact name. My pulse bumps and I close the screen with a careful click. I switch off the light and listen to her breathing even out. Relief slides in, then doubt, then a plan for the morning. I promise myself I'll trust, then I build a checkpoint anyway. Door clicks behind her at 5. I hold the hallway, car S waiting. She grips the banister and studies me. I step aside like a bouncer who knows the guest list. Traffic crawls, she scrolls through reminders and ignores the one from me. Agenda set, I glance over and catch the smirk. She pockets the phone and stares out as if counting exits. We reach the venue and I angle toward the lobby. I'll grab you after. She straightens her blazer and barely nods. A man in a fitted jacket waves her over and never looks my way. I park 2 blocks away and open my notebook. Today's checkpoints line up like dominoes. I cross out 3 and leave the rest breathing. A bad sign arrives as relief. Halfway through the first hour, I loop the building. Her laugh spills out near the courtyard. She stands with jacket guy and 2 others, shoulders loose, stance confident. She doesn't scan for me. I duck behind a pillar and listen for clues. Phrases crackle like sparks. Delegation, boundaries, leverage. The words land on me like accusations I deserve to hear. My phone buzzes from a new thread I forced onto alerts. A quick exchange flashes. Lunch after panel. The name matches the attendee I flagged last night. My chest tightens and my feet begin moving. Inside the atrium, I intercept at the badge table. Break soon, she checks the schedule with a small shrug. 15 minutes. Jacket guy approaches with 2 coffees like he owns the script. I extend a hand before he opens his mouth. Firm shake, controlled smile. He eyes the ring on my finger and keeps that grin steady. I hear the subtext and hate that I do. Join us for lunch. He tosses it like a courtesy he won't enforce. She's got recovery work first. I keep my tone easy and my stare level. She studies both of us and takes a careful sip. She leads me to a side corridor and lowers her voice. I need this space. I nod once and feel pride rear up, then claim it. The words leave my mouth and scratch on exit. Back at the car, I force myself to stay put. Every minute drags its feet. I plan our evening block and then erase half. Control wants a home and keeps knocking. My phone lights again, photo of her with the panel group. She stands centered without forcing it. Jacket guy stands off to the right. I zoom in like a fool hunting answers in pixels. She texts a single line. Running late, no emoji, no cushion. I reply with a thumbs up and drop the phone on the passenger seat like it burned me. An hour later, she slides in and buckles up. Debrief at home. She rubs her thumb along the strap and looks straight ahead. I hear yes and no inside the same sentence. At the apartment, I set 2 timers and cue mobility drills. 10 minutes. She kicks off her heels and rolls her ankles. Make it 8. The correction lands clean and right. We cycle through the moves and she holds the tough ones. Watch for the old flinch and see none. When she finishes, she drinks water slow and waits for me to speak first. Workshop payoff. I keep it clipped to avoid a speech. She nods once and pulls out her notebook. A fresh page, new headers. Her pen moves like it belongs to the hand it serves. I slide a folded sheet across the table, the 3-week plan with the blank column. She unfolds it and studies the shape of my control. I filled my square already. She writes 3 words with 0 hesitation. Boundary, ownership, outcome. The last term stings because it should. I feel the urge to adjust and force my hands flat. Lunch went over, she says it calm and unashamed. We reviewed staffing for a launch. I watch her face for a tell and find nothing I can use. Any conflicts of interest? I keep it neutral and look away. Only if you create one. She leans back and holds my gaze. The room tilts toward a choice I've been avoiding. She gathers her notes and picks up the phone. The unknown contact pops at the top of the screen. She doesn't hide it. She dials and puts it on speaker like a line drawn on the floor. Great work today. The voice is crisp and focused. They trade specifics like teammates, no flirting, no fluff. I feel smaller because competence leaves no room for my hero fantasy. Call ends, she sets the phone down and waits. Trust me or step aside. The sentence arrives gentle and lethal. I swallow once and the taste of pride hits like metal. I take the plan back and draw an X through two control boxes. Your column expands. She studies my face for spin and finds none. Her shoulders drop by a fraction that matters. We head out for a short run I didn't schedule. She sets a pace I can handle and checks my form once. At the last stretch she surges and I let her go on purpose. When we reach the door she turns to face me. Tomorrow I meet the director alone. My stomach tightens then settles. I know what the next chapter will demand. I also know I'm not the lead anymore. Door latch snaps at 7. She reaches for the handle. I'm heading in. I stay planted in the hallway and block the straight line out. You wanted solo. I raise my hands and step aside. Text me when you're done. Her chin lifts a fraction, then she nods once and moves past with purpose. The elevator closes and I'm left with echoing quiet. I lace my trainers and hit the stairs fast. If I keep moving, I won't interfere, or so I tell myself. Street meets pace. I push a hard loop and time each corner. Breath steadies, thoughts do not. I picture her in a glass office across town and my stride stumbles. A buzz interrupts, calendar ping. Meeting confirmed. I slow and stare at the screen like it will confess. No names beyond director and time, clean and secret on purpose. I turn toward the route that passes her building. I call it coincidence and keep running. My body knows I lied before my brain votes. Security stops me at the lobby threshold. Visitor, I shake my head and point at the clock, just grabbing coffee. He watches me hover near the turnstiles and decides not to care. My phone vibrates again, a message from her. Starting now, 2 words, no emojis. The economy of it hits harder than any argument could. I wander to the sidewalk and pretend to stretch. Upstairs, a shadow crosses a conference wall. I can't see faces, only angles that suggest decisions I won't control. A man steps outside with a folder tucked under his arm. He glances at me, then at the badge on his jacket, director's assistant or close to it. He lights up a quick chat with another suit and I log the handshake. I force myself to leave and circle the block. On the far side, I spot a familiar profile through a glass partition. Her posture is tall and still. A second figure leans forward, elbows on knees, interested or testing. The meeting runs long. I count laps on the plaza tiles and invent thresholds. If she exits by the next minute, I'll trust fully. If not, I'll what? That blank scares me more than any outcome. Finally, the doors swing. She walks out with the same measured cadence she uses before a sprint. The director follows, talking with quick cuts. She listens and keeps her shoulders set like steel. They pause near the curb. He gestures once, then twice. She replies with short sentences and small head movements. He smiles tight and extends his hand. She accepts without looking over. I duck behind a column and fight the urge to record. Instead, I fix the details in memory and wait for my chance. When he leaves, I step into her path before she reaches the corner. How did it land? I keep my voice flat to hide the spike. She stops, takes my wrist gently, and moves me out of pedestrian flow. I handled it. The words are spare, the eyes alive. I search her face for bleed-through. Fear, triumph, defiance. I catch resolve first, then something I didn't expect, pity aimed at my need to supervise. It stings in a clean way. What did he want? I watch her grip loosen but end. Aught drop, scope, timeline, autonomy. She lists them like weights she can lift now. I hear the last term rattling my ribs. You got all 3. I try for neutral and miss by a mile. 2 for sure. She taps her pocket twice. Third one is earned. That accuracy cuts and I respect it anyway. We head toward the crosswalk. A car swerves close and brakes hard. She blocks me with an arm and pushes me back 2 steps. The reflex is new and strong. I swallow pride and fall in beside her. Run to decompress. I point toward the river and wait. She studies the distance and nods once. Deal accepted, conditions pending. We jog along the path and skip our usual cues. No metronome breath, no split calls. She sets a pace that invites conversation and I choose silence instead. Halfway through she speaks without looking over. There will be dinners, the pause lands heavy. Travel too, my chest tightens and my stride breaks for half a beat. How often? I manage a steady tone by force. 2 this month, 1 out of state. She flicks her wrist like tossing a match into water. I smell nothing but risk. I test the perimeter, boundaries. The word leaves my mouth like a coin. Clear, she glances at me. I wrote them down. My instinct to ask for proof rises and I stomp it flat. Back home, she heads straight to the desk. I hover by the doorway and watch her compose an email from scratch. Short lines, direct verbs, dates anchored with certainty, no room for me to insert edits. She finishes and swivels. Do you want a review? The invitation is polite and lethal. If I grab control, we slide backward. If I decline, we step into something scarier. Read it out loud. I fold my arms and brace. She does. Each sentence lands with weight and restraint. When she reaches the final ask, she looks up and waits for judgment. It's tight. I keep praise precise so it matters. Send it. Her finger taps the key and the message vanishes. I feel the shape of our dynamic shift a notch. Evening brings a ping from an unknown domain. Dinner confirmation. Venue note. Dress code line I don't want to parse. She opens the message and tilts the screen toward me. Come if you can handle being background. The challenge is clean and fair. I can handle it. My voice is steady, but my stomach has its doubts. We arrive and step into a room that moves like a machine. She checks in and slips into a circle like she belongs there. I take a seat near the edge and count the seconds until someone tests me. A manager approaches with a practiced smile. You must be her support. He offers a hand and a pat on the shoulder. The word support lands fine and wrong at the same time. I answer with a tight nod. I'm here to make her morning run happen. He blinks at the simplicity and retreats without a target. I hold that ground and keep my mouth closed. Across the room, the director joins her group. She leans in and makes a point with two fingers, heads tilt. Laughter pops quick. She controls the tempo without raising her voice. A server passes and I accept a sparkling water. I lift it once and set it down full. My focus refuses distractions tonight. For once that feels like growth, not fear. An executive slides into the chair beside me. You train her. It sounds like an accusation, not a question. I nod. She trains herself. He studies me, then her, then back. What happens when she eclipses you? He doesn't bother softening the blow. I breathe through my nose and count 3. Then I'll be exactly where I hope to stand. I taste truth and flinch at how late it arrived. The dinner winds down and small groups form. She circles back and hooks a finger toward the exit. We step into the night and let the door shut behind us like a gavel. Tomorrow I renegotiate my hours. She looks straight ahead and keeps walking. He expects pushback. I hear the plan layered under the words and nod once. At the corner, she stops and faces me. If you grab the wheel, I'll fight you. The promise lands without heat. I lift my hands in surrender and feel something unclench. We walk in sync for a block, then another. Street noise blurs into a steady hum. One more thing, she adds with a small curl at the mouth. He offered a title bump if I deliver. I kick a pebble and watch it skip ahead. What's the cost? She shrugs lightly. Travel expands, visibility too. She studies my face for cracks and finds a few. Back upstairs, she sets an early alarm and plugs in her phone across the room. I do the same and clock the move. A boundary that also protects me from myself. Lights out, I wait for sleep and replay the day in clipped frames, her arm across my chest at the curb, the director's careful respect, the executive's question that still burns. I know the next escalation is coming. Bigger rooms, sharper stakes, less oxygen for my old role. I tell myself I'm ready, then hear a small voice ask if I really am. Alarm flashes earlier than planned. She is already dressed. Flight moved up, she reaches. For the carry-on, I grip the handle and wait for her reaction like an idiot. Leave it, her palm settles on mine, warm and final. I release and step back one pace. She watches my retreat and zips the bag with a quick pull. Car idles downstairs. I follow to the curb and open the door. I'll meet you there. She studies my face for interference. Audience only. The restriction lands sharp and needed. At the terminal, a colleague angles toward her with 2 boarding passes. He cracks a joke about upgrades and late nights. She glances at the bar past security and then at me, test or warning. I walk to the kiosk and book a seat at the back. No conversation, no chaperoning. I pick a row alone and stare at the aisle, chewing the decision like leather. In the air, I draft a message to the coordinator. She prefers early sessions. Thumb hovers. I picture her mouth tightening when this surfaces later. I delete and feel my shoulders drop an inch. Landing comes hot. My phone lights with a hotel code from an unlisted contact. I pocket it without opening. If it matters, she'll show me herself. Lobby buzz churns. I spot her across the lounge with the director and 2 leads. She tilts her head and gestures me toward a chair by the wall. I sit and become furniture that listens. A tray of drinks arrives with winks. Glasses clink. Someone pushes a tumbler toward her with a grin that demands kinship. She taps the rim of her tonic and holds eye contact until the other person blinks. They move upstairs to prep. I head outside and run a hard mile to flush the noise. When I come back, my pulse is calm, but my hands still hunt for a lever. In the elevator, I open her shared folder and scroll. The deck changed shape without my fingerprints. My training notes are gone. In their place, 3 lean slides labeled risks, levers, stakes. I freeze on stakes. The final bullet hits like a small hammer. Integrity of process over speed. I read it twice. I realize she wrote a rule that includes me. Doors open on the conference floor. A coordinator hands me a badge-marked visitor and points at a side row. The message is clear and correct, and it stings the way disinfectant stings. She takes the stage and owns the tempo out of the gate. No hedging, no borrowed lines. When the projector hiccups, she pivots to voice and anchors the room with cadence. A vendor tries to hijack the agenda with a flashy promise. She cuts in with a palm raised in a sequence of questions that stack like steps. By the third one, he is nodding and retreating. My phone buzzes again. That same number sends a location pin. I lock the screen without opening. If I chase it, I'll rewrite the day into suspicion. Q&A opens. A hostile manager pushes on budget and security. She parries with clean data and closes with a commitment, then adds a condition I did not anticipate. Non-negotiable safeguards. Applause rolls, not adoring but real. She walks off and heads straight to a quiet corner. I stand, then stop myself. She needs to choose the distance, not me. She waves me over after 2 beats. You heard my line. I nod and try to suppress the reflex to fine-tune. She studies me like a coach I used to be and a partner I am trying to become. I almost texted your handler. I show my phone unlocked and empty. I didn't. Her shoulders loosen a fraction and then harden again. Keep choosing that. We grab a ride to the dinner that will test both of us. A senior exec joins our table and starts the familiar dance. Stories, pressure, invitations. I keep my eyes down and count my breaths. He circles back to the same angle. Stress management, everyone has a release. He taps his glass and watches her. She traces the rim of her water and smiles without softness. I run at dawn. She looks over at me and flicks 2 fingers, wake me if I falter. The exec laughs like he missed something crucial and moves to the next cluster. Between courses, I head to the restroom and open my messages again. The pin from earlier pulses like a dare. I start a reply, then delete it letter by letter until only the cursor breathes. Back at the table, she shows me a text thread with the compliance lead. She turns the screen deliberately. I put you in the loop where appropriate. The last 2 words carry weight and mercy. After dessert, she steps aside for a call. I watch her nod through a string of asks, then set terms in 14 perfect words. The deal survives with tighter edges than before. Elevator doors close and we ride up with a handful of strangers. She rests her head briefly against the wall, then straightens. Tomorrow is decisive. I hear both promise and hazard. In the room, she lays out a short list. Warm-up, run-through, buffer. The final item is new, separate time for each of us. I pretend to accept easily and fail by a hair. We sleep in bursts. At 5, she touches my shoulder and points to the door. Track. I throw on shoes and we hit the street where the city still yawns. She calls out intervals, and I obey. The rolls tilt and hold. On the last surge, she opens a gap and does not ease to pull me in. Back inside, I shower fast and leave her the mirror. While I lace up, my phone dings with a message from that persistent number. Breakfast without him. The words scrape and I feel heat rise. I walk over and hand her the phone. This keeps landing, she reads, then blocks the contact without comment. That was for both of us. Her tone is simple, final, right. At the venue, a minor fire breaks out on logistics. A shipment stuck, a demo at risk. She draws a small team into a huddle and issues 3 commands with brutal clarity. Someone suggests an easy workaround that would undercut her standard. She shakes her head once. We do this clean or we don't do it. The room freezes, then moves the hard way. I pace the back and bite the inside of my cheek. A younger manager shoots me a pity glance. I stare at the carpet and wait for something that proves me useful again. The fix lands with seconds left. She walks to the mic and cues the segment like nothing cracked. People in the front row lean forward as the screen springs back to life. The director leans near my shoulder and keeps his voice low. She's ready for more. He waits for pushback that never arrives. I know, I answer, and believe it this time. After the session, she corners me near the service hallway. We need to talk without noise. We duck into an empty prep room and face the thing we have avoided for months. You pulled me out of a tailspin, she starts, hands open. Then you built rails so tight I couldn't steer. I absorb it without deflecting. I have no counter that doesn't sound like fear. If this is love, it has to breathe. Her eyes keep me pinned. I choose you when you back my choices. The wording is exact and it lands like a contract clause. I reach for my pocket and pull out a folded page, my old schedule matrix. I tear it in half, then again, then drop the pieces into the trash. The gesture is crude and necessary. She watches my hands settle. That helps. She steps closer and rests her forehead against mine for 1 beat. Now show me with habits, not theater. We walk back into the corridor and face the remaining hours. A reporter asks for a quote and aims the mic at her. She gives 1 clear sentence and points the rest toward her team. The event wraps. The director extends a handshake with new respect. We'll formalize next week. He glances at me and nods once. I nod back and mean it. Outside the rideshare line snakes, she checks our place and leans into me lightly. Flight late tonight. I hear fatigue in the edges, not in the center. At the gate, she opens her calendar and shows a week with blocks I didn't assign. My plan. She holds the screen where I can read it and not alter it. Trust lives in visibility, not in control. On the plane, I draft a message to cancel the monitoring alerts I set months ago. I delete the filters and archive the folders. The server sets a full glass beside her plate. My hand moves before thought. I rotate the stem away and slide water into its place. She watches the switch, then lifts her chin like a silent warning. Wrong table, I murmur and flag the server. He nods once and removes the risk without fuss. Her jaw unclenches by a hair. The director enters the room 2 minutes later. He beckons, she stands and smooths her blazer. I stay seated and count 4 slow breaths. She doesn't look back, which is how this needs to go now. A partner corners me with small talk disguised as a test. Travel wears people down. He taps his phone and waits for me to overreact. She trains for load. My answer lands clean enough to end the probe. Across the floor, she's in a tight group, elbows in, voice low. Laughter breaks twice, quick and sharp. I can't hear words, but I can see power moving. My screen lights 2 words from her, 10 minutes. I stand, stretch my calves, and head outside. Cold air bites and grants me patience I didn't bring. A black sedan pulls up fast, unknown guest. He rushes in without checking the curb. My pulse climbs because surprises have teeth. I stay by the door and wait for the hit. Inside, chairs scrape. The unknown takes a seat next to her. He lays down a folder and points at a single page, heads tilt in as if magnets move them. I nearly cross the floor. I stop on the threshold and plant my feet. She told me she would handle turbulence. This is the test I asked for. The director gestures toward a side room. She rises and follows, not hurried. The unknown tightens his grip on the folder and trails behind, my breath hitched, then steadies by force. 2 minutes pass, then 5. I walk a thin line along the corridor tiles and rehearse 3 different disasters. None include me saving the day because that road is closed. Her text lands like a flare. Join the side room now. I move, fast but not loud. She doesn't summon me often now. If she does, it matters. Inside, she nods at an empty CH. Ere I stay standing, the unknown looks me up and down and smirks. The director watches my posture like it's data. She pushes the folder toward me. He wants add-ons outside scope. Her tone is even, not cold. He claims we implied it. The man taps the page again and shrugs. I read the line she underlined, vague clause, dangerous if left alone. I slide the page back without touching the pen. You already wrote the boundary, I say, point to it again slowly. She turns the page and pins the exact sentence with her finger. Delivery excludes out-of-cycle custom work. Her voice stays steady. Anything extra triggers a new contract. The unknown laughs once shallow. That's aspirational. She leans in. It's binding. He tries to flare, then notices the director's face. The smirk dies on schedule. Offer him a pilot with a fixed cap, I add calm. Charge triple 30 days, cancel if they drift. She nods once and rotates the folder back his way. We'll do a pilot, she says. Fixed hours, triple rate, scope locks at signature. She holds eye contact until he looks down. That tiny drop tells me everything. The director nods toward me. You're co-owner of this playbook. I lift a hand. I'm not, I'm the wall behind her. He studies the answer and accepts it without a smile. The unknown signs, not a flourish, just ink and pressure. He stands and collects his ego. We'll be in touch. He leaves fast to avoid admitting he lost. Door clicks shut. She exhales once, measured. I realize I was holding my own breath and let it burn out slowly. Good call on the pilot, she says and grabs her notebook. You didn't need me, I answer. You wanted a witness. She tilts her head and half grins. Sometimes the wall helps the roof hold. Back in the main room, a toast starts. Flutes rise. The server glances at us for the pour. I cover her glass with 2 fingers and shake my head once. He pivots smoothly and keeps moving. The director raises his voice for the close. To the team who kept terms tight, eyes turned toward her, not me. She takes the smallest bow and stays grounded. We step out before the after-party forms. Elevators hum. She presses the button and leans against the rail. There's a bigger ask tomorrow, she says. Board wants me to lead the rollout meeting. You'll run it, I answer too quickly. She watches me, reading what rides under the cheer. Don't orbit that room, she adds. I need my own gravity. Morning hits hard. I wake before the alarm and set coffee to brew. She laces up with clean motions, no trembling, no pause at the door. We run a short loop to clear noise. Last set is yours, I tell her, no cues. She accelerates in silence and finishes strong. I walk the cooldown while she paces off the edge. Neither of us needs applause. At the office, security waves her through without hesitation. I stay outside and find a bench near the plaza. She texts a single letter before the meeting. Be boardroom battle both fit. I track time on my watch and nothing else. 15 minutes, 30, 45. I fight an old habit trying to resurrect. Then the door opens and movement floods the hall. She emerges with two senior faces on either side. They talk fast and nod faster. She holds the momentum like reins. They peel off at the elevators and she heads for me. Closed, she says and sits, not a brag, a fact. New title, more headcount, burn rate stays capped. My laugh comes out ragged and real. The ground under us feels solid and strange. We grab a conference room for 10 minutes by ourselves. She drops a badge on the table and flips it to show the title strip. I tap the line with my knuckle and feel something unclench. She studies me. I know what this means for us. I brace for an ask I won't like. I'll be gone more, she continues. I won't be gone from you. The distinction lands right where fear lives. To keep that true, I say, we need rules, she nods. 4. We trade them like athletes setting lanes, daily check-ins under 5 minutes, no surprise travel without a ping, 2 runs per week together, 0 drinks at work events. Add 1, she says and lifts an eyebrow. I wait, no coaching unless I ask for it. The sentence is a blade wrapped in trust. I accept it and sign with a handshake. We shake again, tighter, a binding I should have made months earlier. She squeezes once more than necessary and I hear the echo of our first night in that pressure. As we stand, the unknown from last night reappears at the door. He looks from her to me and back. You'll brief legal before lunch. He phrases it like a command that will not stick. She doesn't sit. Send your questions now, she says. I'll address them on the call. Her tone brooks no reroutes. He fumbles his phone and nods at his shoes. We walk out and catch daylight at the curb. She pauses, then holds out her phone. You keep this for today, she says. If I want a drink to celebrate, you'll know first. I pocket the device and feel the wee. I used to crave return in a different shape. Not control, guard duty. She wipes her palms on her sleeves and smiles without showing teeth. Evening arrives with quiet, not fanfare. She cooks something simple and eats half. I rinse dishes and stop policing portions like a zealot. She notices the restraint and bumps my hip once. On the couch, she leans back and studies the ceiling. I thought you wanted me moldable, she says. I stare at my hands and let that accusation float. I wanted us safe, I answer. I confuse safety with command. She nods once and reaches over. Our fingers link, not dramatic, precise. Tomorrow is ugly, she says. Press call, investor check, team review. I squeeze twice and release. The night is short and scattered. I wake at 3 and stare at the ceiling. Old reflexes scratch at the door. I refuse to let them in. At 5 the alarm pops and we move. Pre-brief starts at 7. She dresses while I prep oats and fill bottles. I don't count ounces anymore. I place the bowls on the counter like offerings to discipline, not fear. We walk to the car without speaking. In the lobby, the director passes and taps her shoulder once. Respect, not ownership. I clock it and file it under progress I didn't script. She stops before the conference doors and turns to me. Last checkpoint, she says. After this, no more training wheels. I laugh once and shake my head. You welded them off already. She steps in and the door soft closes. I watch through the small window, then force myself to sit 2 floors down in a quiet lounge. I read nothing, I scroll nothing, I learn to wait. At the hour mark, my phone buzzes. Her single word arrives again. Done. I stand and feel the smallest tremor pass through me, not fear, relief edged with awe. She meets me by the elevators and hands me back her phone. Keep the no coaching rule, she says, except for this one thing. I lift an eyebrow and wait for the twist. Push me when I ask for easy, she says. Catch me if I reach for old habits. I nod slowly because that is a job that honors both of us. We exit to the street and cut toward the river path. She sets a steady tempo and breathes clear. I fall in beside her and hold pace, not position. Halfway down the stretch, she glances over. You still with me? I answer without words and match her stride. A cyclist zips by clothes and forces us tight. Her elbow brushes mine and stays for 2 beats. At the turnaround, she gestures forward. You lead the way back, she says. Set the rhythm, no more timing. I nod and let the old coach part of me wake up carefully. We run home without chasing records. We move like people who survived their favorite lies. At the final crosswalk, she squeezes my hand once and steps off. I remember the first night when I blocked the door with pride and fear. I open my palm now and match her pace. She doesn't need my wing, she wants my shoulder. I can live with that, and I do.